turn it up. Maybe it would help if we turned up the microphone. Testing 1 2, testing 1 2. Hopefully that is going to give us an input. And I don't have to stop and restart the stream, because that would be terrible. Nick, any better? Checking 1 2, checking 1 2. I may have to stop and restart the stream. There we go. We have audio. Woohoo! We've got audio on the other platforms. Thank you, Nick. I appreciate it. Okay, we're going to start with a bowl gouge. We are cross grain. And we're going to take our time and make light cuts, because we are very much off center. And this is going to dance a little. You just got to come to terms with the fact that if you're using a smaller lathe like I am, it's going to move. However, once we get the handle turned and we get the mug's body between centers, everything will smooth out. All right, we're going to check and see how close we are. See if we can get this down to round. And it's cutting pretty nicely, which is good. Red oak can be a challenge. Well, it's red oak. Red oak is notorious for cracking and chipping, but this is a good dry piece. It's been from a tree that's been down for quite a while. We're just going to take some more of this bulk down, and we're going to turn the tool rest and cut down across the grain once I've kind of tamed some of this bulk. But I definitely want to get a little bit of this bulk down. Let's try it. Turning quite a bit of air at the moment. And I'm also quite a ways away off of the tool rest. We're going to go ahead and swing tool rest around and keep working in here. I want to get this round, then I will have a little bit more control. Level this out a little bit. Now, one thing I do need to apologize about for those of you watching on either the YouTube or the Facebook platform, the power supply and one of my little cameras died, so I only have 2 camera angles for you on those platforms. I apologize. That will be rectified soon. And for those of you watching on TikTok, well, you're used to one angle, because that's how TikTok works. Looks like we're going to be more effective coming in from the side. It's probably due to how dry this piece of oak is. This is very, very dry, so it's pretty hard. If it were a little greener, I probably could cut downwards a little easier. Time to sharpen. Let me sharpen up real quick. Yeah, I'm sorry, Leona. The microphone is feeding the YouTube and Facebook Lives, not the camera. Testing, 12. All right. I've got to sharpen up real quick. Again, this is very dry red oak. It's good and seasoned. This tree's been down for years and years. Ooh, brand new belt on the sharpener. That does it fast. So this is very dry red oak. It's very hard. That's better. So once I've got the handle turned, this is going to go a lot faster between centers and grain, but I've got to get this down and shaped. And this probably will not be like a coffee drinking mug, simply because it's red oak, which is very porous. So most likely what we'll do is what I will use this one as is a shaving mug. The soap will plug the pores in the bottom, but we'll see how it finishes up. Thank you very much for the gifts on the TikTok feed. Appreciate it. If you'd like better audio, and I'm sorry to YouTube and Facebook for yelling, I have a microphone and you can hear me much clearer on my YouTube or my Facebook page. we're still just working on removing bulk. We can bring the tool rest in a little closer. And I've got about an inch more space to go before I interface with what should be the outside diameter of the mug body. Yes, what I'm doing now is turning the handle. I like to turn the handle first so I see what the limitations are for the top and bottom of the mug. Which, it's just, to me, logically, thinking through the two axes, this makes the most sense to me. And being as I've never seen anyone do this before, although I know that I've seen that it has been done, I've never actually watched someone do it. This is the method I developed. So, you know, if somebody like Steve Twidell or Martin Clarkson says, hey, try it the other way, I'm certainly going to give it a try because they're more experienced turners than I am. But logically, it seems to me like it makes sense to define your handle so that you don't leave yourself with nothing. That is not stopping the motor, by the way. The drive center's spinning in the wood. So once we get round, we have a nice smooth cut. That's nice. And that's actually cutting really clean, which is an accomplishment for red oak. That's a feat. We've got about 3/4 of an inch left here. We're just going to keep hogging bulk out. Got to keep it at about a 1/16 of an inch at a time. Greetings, Roy. Yeah, we're dancing today. We're dancing. There we go. Start getting that down to where we can shape it. Give ourselves some direction. Go ahead and check it real quick. Looking good. Still got some ways to go here. I'm not digging too much of a ditch in the other side, but I gave myself quite a bit of space. So let's see. Okay, I'm going to take this down some more. This is this is the part of this, aside from carving, this is the part of this project that takes the most time because you're working off balance. And on a small lathe like this, just the fact that it doesn't necessarily have the torque or the horsepower or the weight to just power through the off balance means you have to work with its limitations as far as shaking and things like that are concerned. However, this little Laguna 1216 has absolutely handled everything I've thrown at it for about 4 years now. It is an impressive little machine. All right, got to double check our depth here. We've got about 1/3 of an inch to go. Now I really want to work on the shape of my little handle. That's obviously, well, it may not be obvious to you, but it's too big. So we're going to take that down a little bit. And again, for those of you on TikTok, I am also streaming live on the Tube of You and the Book of Face. And I can only run my microphone audio through one input or the other. And I'm sorry, but TikTok lost out this time. So if you want better audio, you click the thing and go to the place, and you can hear what's going on a lot better and more clearly there. This will also post on the Tube of You channel. And I'm not sure whether or not the Book of Face feed will save or not. Apparently people have been having issues with that lately. But I will do my best to have it in both locations. So, like I said, I've got about 1/3 of an inch to go here. I'm going to start shaping this handle down and getting it down to the dimensions I like. And then we'll rethink our center on the bottom. But we're going to change axes, and things will go a lot quicker after I get this handle where it needs to be. Got to be very, very careful. I'm hanging my arm over the tool rest in order to get at the angle I need, but I have to be very, very aware of the fact that I've got that off balance wedge just swinging around at 600 RPM. So I have to be very cognizant of that fact. If I lean in too close, I'm going to get hurt. A little bit too excited there. All right, let's take a look at that. And we still need to come down a little ways. So we're going to work on that, reducing bulk, and get this handle down a lot closer to the, well, it's almost there. It's almost the shape and width that I want. We just need to work our way down a little bit more. So part of this technique is the same technique you use to turn a cube on a lathe. Except instead of being centered and cutting a cube, we're off center and we're just flattening this side. But it's the same first steps. As you can see, once we get down to where it's cutting a continuous circle, it definitely moves a lot more quickly. All right, let's take a look. We have 1/4 of an inch to go. And I definitely need to work in a little bit more and make this a flatter surface here. I'm bowed just a little toward my handle, which is kind of natural when you're turning on these axes. But I need to get at this a little bit. So again, turn by hand. Make sure that your tool rest is not going to cause an issue. And we're going to go to a smaller gouge. This is a 3/8 inch spindle gouge, and that's just going to be used as a kind of a detail gouge. Get me in closer and work on this shape. Feels like it's about what I'm looking for. Now let's see how it feels in my hand. Not bad. This will get rounded off a little bit later. That's good though. Okay, we got a tiny bit more to take down. that same catch again. Closing it too closed, and the wing is rolling over. We're about one more pass, and then we can finalize that handle. But I also was able to level that out a lot more. That's close to a flat edge. And I think we're about where we want to be. Just a little bit more shaping here. And I'm going to cheat a little. If you'll give me just a second, we're going to switch to a 3-inch tool rest that I can get in there close. And this is using a modular tool rest system from Bestwood Tools, who I'm very grateful to have sponsorship from. But that little 3-inch tool rest lets me get in close. Look at that. Nice. And I'll have a little bit better tool support right in close to the piece. Hello, Joe. So that's really useful, and it's a 1-inch post for the Laguna lathe, and then this is 3/4 inch. On the T, you can get 1 inch. And I'm a little bit high, but that lets me get in really close. This is a really good tool rest for turning pens too. It's an excellent tool rest for turning pens. You still have to remain very conscious of the fact that you've got this big block just swinging around at you. That's nice, though. That's really nice. I like that a lot, actually. That feels really good. Go back to the larger gouge here. Roll this edge. Do a little shear scraping. Just need to round this a little bit. Don't want it to be too sharp. That looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. All right, we're going to come in with a 1/2 inch bowl scraper here. Smooth that out a little bit. Take a look. Now I'm not going to worry about sanding this on the lathe because we're going to have to do some hand carving. So we're going to worry about sanding the actual handle after we get it carved. Okay, now we change axes and things should smooth out considerably. So the top of the mug, my center down here is not straight. What we're going to do is we're going to center that up. And we're going to take a look at that negatory right about there. Looks to be as close as we're going to get. Let's say we're still off a little bit right here. It's not quite. Yeah, that'll be doable. I think we're going to swing it just a hair more. What I'm looking at is the alignment of the handle much better. That's definitely got us closer to square and centered. But we got to get a little bit better bite here. And I do believe we are going to switch to a steb center. Which is going to give us a little bit of a more even drive surface. Not too shabby. All right, things will speed up a lot now because we're much more in balance. We've only got this little tiny off balance, off axis piece, whereas this is pretty much between centers and all we got to do is round it up. Too much tool rest. First we had too little, now we have too much. We'll switch this one off for the 6-inch, which is the beauty of having modular tool rests, is if I've got a little too much or a little too little, it only takes a few seconds. Voila, tool rest has been changed. And what I like to do is set the end of the tool rest about 1/8 of an inch from the handle as it swings, just to give myself a little do not pass this line mark. If my cutting edge goes past this tool rest, I know I'm too close to the handle as it swings around. running a little high. I am in spindle orientation, meaning that the grain is running this way. I've got my little line there I don't want to cross, and I'll keep just shy of it until I am ready to get closer. Still running high. Just about round. And this red oak is cutting very nicely for me today. I'm glad to see that. And I need a little bit of space. So what I'm going to do is just drive my quill out, and then lock my tail center back down, then get a little bit pressure back in, and that gives me more room to move my tool rest around. The banjo is free to move a little bit. I also can tighten this nut a little, bring that handle up so that it clears the banjo. But we're live, so I don't want to mess with that at the moment. Not quite round. Better. We still have a small flat spot, yeah. But I can start to flatten this out and get a tenon established, and then we'll work in closer to our handle here for the base. But first I want to get a tenon established here. So if you're on the other two platforms, I am trying to monitor comments there. I am also live on the Tube of You, which is where you can hear my microphone commentary, and on Faceplace, where you can also hear my microphone commentary. All right, so we have just about flattened out the base. And I'll teach you a little trick. If you're using the Novichok G3, the 60 millimeter jaws, if you set your pencil on top of your 60-degree live center, that is just a little bit bigger than the diameter of the jaws closing on a tenon. So if you just get down just past that, you'll have the right size tenon, which we're going to do. And we're just going to come in with a skew chisel and put a little dovetail on that. Skew's essentially acting as a negative rake scraper. And then we're going to go ahead and finish shaping this part of the mug. Make sure a nice tight corner there. That's going to look good. All right, we need to round out a tiny bit more. Need to round out a tiny bit more and come up and get our cylindrical shape as close to our handle as possible. Ah, over-rotated. Beautiful. Beautiful. I like that. I like that a lot. All right. Let's take the rest down. Sharpen up real quick. I'm going to sharpen up real quick. That red oak is very, very dry, very hard. It's well seasoned. All right, that should do us. We'll get back down in here. Now we can undercut a bit. We actually have some more room, but we can undercut a bit and get closer to the handle. That's about as close as we want that tool rest to get. Let's take a look here. Ooh, she's close. Use a smaller blade to undercut. And that's what we didn't want to have happen. So we're going to call that close enough. I got a little too excited, and I jumped right in rather than working it in, easing it in there. So we're going to call that close enough because I've offset the center, but I still have the through center here with my tenon. So we're just going to go ahead and switch it around, put it in the chuck, turn the top part, and then we'll sand the outside and do some carving. Not the end of the world, just the end of that axis, or at least that side of that axis. A little pro tip, when you're removing your live center with your knockout bar, don't play cool and try to catch it because you'll drop it and you can break these teeth. I just dropped it. Keep your hands on it, then you won't drop it. Also, if your lathe has a little flat spot on the spindle and you have a locking grub screw here for your lock the grub screw, lock it down. All right, so we have true center here on the tenon, and we are end grain, so we can really tighten down on our chuck because we're compressing the grain of the wood, not expanding it. And this is end grain, so we're just making that tenon stronger by tightening down good, which on a really dry piece like this is good hard red oak. Hollowing is going to be a little bit could be a little bit iffy if your tenon isn't real tight. So, all right, we're doing pretty good. We will round off the top part and the lip. We're going to go back to the 3-inch tool rest just because we don't have a lot of real estate out here. And we're going to set that right next to the handle, just like so. Drop that down just a hair. Bring it in a skosh. Again, using the end of the tool rest. The end of the tool rest gives us a good solid indication of where we need to stop cutting so that we don't interfere and intrude on the handle. All right, now we're round, and we got to line up the top of the shape here so that it looks like it's running continuous through the square block. So we need to check that and make sure that we're not getting interference through there. Interesting. Oh, there we go. Now maybe I can see. Okay. So we're going to stop and we're going to eyeball it. We're going to look. We're going to come in with the smaller gouge again with the 3/8" spindle gouge, which is good and sharp because we want to work kind of small and close and really work on making sure that as we look at this from the side, we have one nice continuous shape. And this is the tricky part. And I will tell you, if you're a new wood turner, one thing you do not want to do when you're doing this is you do not want to look where your tool is cutting. You want to look up here at the shadow, and as this is spinning, you're going to be able to extrapolate with your mind's eye. You're going to be able to see the continuous surface of the shape of the mug. You're going to be able to see that line. But if you're looking down here, you're going to get lost in what the tip of the tool is doing, and you're not going to be able to see anything. So watch the shadow. Another thing that I'm going to do to help visualize that is I'm going to flatten this edge off real quick. That I do know will make a difference. It's not level. We level it, and that will actually make a difference in my ability to see that shape. Okay, good. Good. I can definitely see that much more clearly now that I don't have that kind of waving around just being a distraction. So we're going to take this down so that we have a continuous shape between the bottom of the mug and the top of the mug. And this one, this red oak has some pretty wide grain. I think this will not ever make a coffee or a soup mug, but this would be a great shaving mug. If you use a brush and soap to shave, this would be the utensil for you. All right, now I'm looking. I'm going to come down just a hair more. That looks pretty good. Not bad. I think by the time we're done carving and we do some sanding, that's going to line up just about perfectly. Now, here's where we can't really turn the rest of it, right? It's if I stick a tool in here, I'm going to snap the handle right off. So we have to do some hand carving. And here's where I get to break out my new tool, which I'm very excited to show you. I'll get the live center back out of the way. I'll bring my banjo in. I'm going to pull the entire thing, chuck and all, off the lathe. And then I have to look at the box and make sure I call this the right name. I literally just opened this. I got it yesterday. I waited and opened it today. And I'm actually going to use a little bit of video from this live from the TikTok to finish my introductory video of this really, really, really cool piece of equipment. So, hang on. Let's make sure we get the name correct. Got to say it right. This is the Articulated Carving and Finishing Post from Bestwood Tools. And it comes with, this is a 1-inch shaft. If you have a bigger or smaller, depending on your lathe, you can get them with adjusted sizes. And this is a 1-in-8 TPI thread here. And so without removing my piece from the chuck and losing center, because it's very, very hard to take it off center, take it off the chuck and get it back on centered. Instead of doing that, I now have a completely positionable, I can rotate it, I can bend it, I can raise and lower it, and it also comes, and I haven't done this yet, but I will be clearing off the space on my workbench back here. It comes with a mounting plate so that I can mount that on my workbench so I can just turn around and set it on the workbench if I want to carve at that level, if I want to go over there and carve. So this is a really, really sweet addition to my arsenal. This is from bestwoodtools.com. I'm very grateful to them for their sponsorship. I do have to tell you, I am sponsored by Bestwood Tools, but I've been using Bestwood Tools for a while, which is why they sponsor me, because I've been telling you guys about their stuff for a couple years now. So I'm going to start with a bench chisel, and I think I'm going to give myself a little bit of an angle. That's so cool. Just boop, boop, lock it in. We're just going to knock these corners down. banging on this. So it's going to move a little. That's just natural, but whoop. And actually I was ejecting it out of the chuck. So lesson learned. Drive it down onto the chuck, not away from the chuck. First time I've ever used this tool. So that's good to know. We learned something. We'll remount this on the chuck. It's not going to be perfect now, unfortunately, which is kind of the purpose of the tool, is to square it up as close to dead center as you can by not removing it from the chuck, but that's okay. We will make it operate. We will make it work. I appreciate your gifts. Thank you very much. I cannot read your name. Oliviera. I see that. Thank you very much for the gifts. Appreciate that. Oh, we'll get that back centered on that chuck. Tighten it down. Another lesson there. Tighten your chuck. Whenever you're changing orientations and stuff, just tighten your chuck. Just take a second, make sure your chuck is good to go. All right, tighten it down there, tighten it there, tighten it there. We'll just give her some more light tappity taps. And that is really putting the YouTube camera at a disadvantage. We're going to go ahead and fix that. We'll change the angle here, bring you guys down so you can see. There you go. That's a little better angle on the tube of you. You can see the carving. So we really don't have a lot to do here. The most effective tool that I've found for this is a rasp. But we can get some bulk out of the way, just like that. And we do have plenty of bulk to deal with here. Now, I would imagine if you had an Arbortech, this carving would take almost no time at all. Or a good rotary tool. I don't have either. Thank you very much for helping me achieve the live goal on TikTok. Appreciate that. My mallet is cherry, and the force of the hits is warming the wood up just enough that I smell cherry every time I swing the mallet. That's cute. Of note, it was the chuck holding the piece. It wasn't tight enough. It was not the carving stand. When I knocked that out of the chuck, I literally knocked it out of the chuck. All right, that's about all we're going to do this way. Because we don't want to start breaking into the other side, so we're going to now go to the rasp. And here is where this sucker is really, really going to shine in regards to being able to change the position. So that is the chuck unscrewing. Let me see something. I have a suspicion. Nope. Okay, so one thing this does not have is here I have a little flat area on my a little flat area on my spindle where I can lock that grub screw. I don't have that on this. So if I'm pushing it in a direction that's going to unscrew it, it will unscrew it. Budapest, I'm gonna do a combination of a little bit of rasp work and a little bit of tippity tappity. Hang on, let me find this. This chisel is a little tiny bit dull. I think I have no, that's a 1/4 inch. I don't want to use that one. All right, we're gonna have to sharpen this up a little bit, real quick. But this actually doesn't. Well, this is red oak. Cherry, this goes pretty quickly. Red oak is a different story. That's just water. This is a diamond stone. That was 400. This is, I believe, 1,000. Just get a little bit better edge on this. Oh yeah, that'll do us. And we will hone it on the ceramic. That'll be better. That'll be better. All right, chip away a little bit more of this. So the carving part of this is a little bit time consuming, but it usually ends up going fairly quickly. Again, you really want to make sure that you don't cut down into the shapes you've turned. Yes, a good multi-tool would go through it if I had a good multi-tool. Sometimes we work on a budget. And honestly, an Arbortech would be ideal. It would rip right through it. So, you know, if you guys would like to see me using ArborTech, the link to my website is in, you know, my bio. And you're welcome to buy any of my work. And that would definitely fund improved tools for projects like this. An ArborTech would be ideal for carving this. Or a rotary tool better than my Dremel. My Dremel's on its last legs. But it was given to me by somebody to whom it was given, so it's made it through 3 generations of woodworkers. Can't complain about that. Pretty impressive, considering some of the stuff that my mentor who gave it to me put it through, and some of the stuff I've put it through. All right, you do need to be careful. I got a little close there, but when we switch over to the wood turner, I am a disabled veteran. I do this for my mental health. I sell my work to supply my my tool habit. If I were physically able, I would do this full time, yes. I am limited. I am limited by the results of a broken body due to my service. That is cool. The fact that I can rotate that a little bit, that is insanely cool. The last one of these I did pinching the entire setup in my vise on my workbench, working at the height of my workbench, which when I built it, I mistakenly built to the outfeed height of my table saw, not understanding that the table saw is about 2.5 or 3 inches too short for continuous use because of my back. So the workbench hurts. This is a complete different experience right here. This is actually pleasurable. I'm not hunching down to reach. This is just opened up all new capabilities. And like I said, if I can get some better tools, if I can get an ArborTech or a Foredom, where I have a good rotary tool with burr blades, carving this would take no time at all, take less than 20 minutes. But doing it manually, this gives me much greater ability and much less of an impact on my physical endurance because of my back. This is a godsend. This is a fantastic tool. Appreciate the gift, Rashid. Thank you very much. Check the other chats. I don't see any commentary on the other platforms. Thank you for being there, though, on the tube of you. It doesn't look like anybody's watching on Bookface, but that's okay. Bookface isn't necessarily known for its live feeds. All right, we are almost to the point of having to use the rasp exclusively. just about. But yeah, what a cool piece of equipment this is. This is absolutely, this is going to become essential in my shop. I can tell already this is going to be something that I'm going to break out every 2 or 3 days easily. And again, the mounting plate to mount it on my workbench, on my other workbench, which is the right height, that's a game changer too. I could turn around, if I'm not streaming live, I can turn around, put this on the workbench in the mounting plate, and take all the time I need to do whatever carving I desire. Which would be phenomenal. All right, that's all we can do. Whacking on it with a hammer and a bench chisel. But that gets us quite a bit closer. Sure we're still tight, and then we're going to go to the rasp. And swing that view over. There we go. And then the other tool that I have that is extremely useful here is my Kiridashi. This is a very, very effective little carving tool. This one is hand forged of low layer Damascus by my friend Sam at ST Knife Design. And this is a Japanese style carving knife that needs to be stropped. So this is just a leather strop with little stropping compound. Yeah, that'll do. It's taking the hair right off my arm. Yeah, this is a this thing is crazy. This is a really useful little carving tool. But it's also very, very sharp, and you have to pay a lot of attention because it will bite you if you're not. You definitely need to be aware of where the blade is at all times. Yeah, because it will make you leak. It'll make you leak fast. Just bumping yourself with it will make you leak. However, this is really hard. This red oak is really hard. This stuff is very dry. It's very old. Probably a bit case hardened, just from heat. This rasp goes through cherry like butter. So this is the longest part of my process. Of this process. I also have these little wonderful Japanese needle rasps. And these are really cool to get me in down here by the base. And again, there are definitely powered rotary tools that would make this much faster. But once upon a time, we didn't have powered rotary tools. And even the lathes were steam or water powered. Or they were treadle lathes. So we're coming up on an hour. We're at an hour and a half here. Yep, and that's just it. Is like I do have a Dremel, but it's on its last legs. And my replacement collets I purchased that are supposed to fit it, that came from Dremel, don't fit it. That's frustrating. There we go. So at this point, it's just manual labor. But you want to carve the outside and get the outside to a finished state before you hollow. Because if this was hollow and I'm sitting on here banging on it with hammer and chisels and doing all that to it, I would just crack it. That's why we haven't gotten to hollowing yet. Is it would just crack the piece and we would have wasted a lot of time getting it to the stage it's at. That, what I just did there, look at this. That's just crazy. It's so cool that I can just reposition it. Just, boop, let's move it. Boop. Wow. That's like, that's made this job easier 100-fold. Just being able to reposition this that easily. That is a huge time saver. We're getting there. I definitely need to get some more varied rasps. This rasp is really good rasp, but this red oak is challenging for pretty much anything. Hey, Scott, how you doing? Good afternoon. Speaking of Scott, it's time. Uh-oh. That's not... What on earth? Well, I thought I had my water bottle out here, but apparently we're not going to get a hydration break with my Fish Caught with Scott water bottle. I filled it. I must have left it on the counter. All right, let's readjust here. I keep swinging that out of the overhead camera view. We're getting down there. We are getting down there. Again, being very cautious with the Kiridashi. It is incredibly sharp. If you don't know, I am a member of the Worldwide Woodturners. You can find us at worldwidewoodturners.org. I am also the editor of our newsletter. We had a really good newsletter come out yesterday. It comes out every 2 weeks. And on the front cover is a tutorial by Mrs. Rita Duxbury on making little heart-shaped dishes. And if you watch that long video I posted yesterday, that is one of those dishes. I put the tutorial on the cover of the newsletter to work, and it worked well. It's a very cute little project. It's a lot of fun, and it is free. You can get your copy by going to worldwidewoodturners.org, clicking the newsletter tab, and just download the PDF file. They are in printable format so that you can print and share them. They are copywritten with a Creative Commons license that allows for free distribution and reproduction with no fees. You can't sell it legally under the copyright, but it is free to share. So once again, go to worldwidewoodturners.org and download the newsletter. There is a great tutorial step-by-step in this edition. There is another step-by-step in the one coming out 2 weeks from yesterday. That will be on February 28th. That's going to be a really good one. And that's all I'm telling you about it. You got to wait for the newsletter. And then there's another one. The next edition after that, I've got another step-by-step walkthrough to lay out. And these are all produced by members of the Worldwide Woodturners. You can find us at worldwidewoodturners.org. You can find us on the Faceplace. And we are literally a worldwide club. We have members from all over. Great Britain, New Zealand, Australia. I'm not sure if we have a member from either Vietnam or Thailand. Somewhere in that region of the world. He turns gigantic vases, like temple vases, huge pieces of made just of pillars of wood. They're incredible. We have members. Literally, we're worldwide. We have members from everywhere. We meet every Wednesday night via Zoom. Again, membership is free. We don't sell it. Well, we sell our stickers for exactly $5 plus, which covers shipping. But there are no membership charges, no dues, free demos. We had a great demo last night, and that almost was the technique that I was going to work on today. I was going to reproduce that demo, but I decided to go multi-axis for this live. But the other cool thing is we have a YouTube channel, and you can see the meetings if you miss them. Usually posted by the next week. You can watch those demos free of charge on YouTube at Wood Turning. That is the name of the channel. And you can also find that link at worldwidewoodturners.org. And it is really a treat for me to be able to put my military training. I was a journalist in the Navy, and it is very much a treat for me to be able to put my military training to work and edit this magazine and publish it, or newsletter. It's not a magazine yet, but it really is a delight for me to be able to put that experience to work. So check it out. You might even see some things you've seen on this channel in that newsletter. Let's see. Swing this around. And yeah, it looks pretty good if I do say so myself. I might kind of know what I'm doing there. All right, we got to switch back to the other camera for the tube view. There we go. So you can see a little bit more of what's going on here. So if you wonder why I'm referring to those other platforms as, you know, Faceplace and the Tube of View, it's because TikTok here has AI monitoring, and they hear certain phrases and they'll pull your live off of the FYP, and that's kind of silly, but I guess I get it. They want to keep their business here, so we use a little bit of code language. All right, let's see. Let's go back to the rasp. See, I got a little bit excited with the chisel here. So this has a rasp side and a file side. The rasp doesn't go all the way to the edge, but the file does. Well, that makes it a little bit interesting. Removing like from right around here, because I can't get the rasp in there, which removes far more material. But this articulating tool rest allows me to move where I have the absolute perfect angle to get the Kiridashi in there and just carve that away. Again, being very careful with my fingers, this knife is extremely sharp, as it should be in order to perform its job. Joe is determined to name the articulated carving post. I think I prefer Arnold to Artie. We will call him Arnold. This is time consuming, folks. Sometimes when we want to make something that's just got a little bit of an artful twang, um, it takes a little time. It takes a little time, and that's just part of choosing to do things like this. I was going to do a little bit of a different project, but I really wanted to try this multi-axis again. I've got a couple, and I'm getting asked by Snafu over on Faceplace. I have not used it yet because the finish is not done curing. I've got about another week and a half for finishing on that curing. So it will be used, and it will be used to drink my morning coffee, just not until the finish is fully cured. I believe, because this is red oak, this is very, very porous, we're going to call this a shaving mug. And you can see where I got zealous. I got a little bit below the surface here, so we're going to give it a little feature of some kind. We're going to have to carve through that. You got to be careful when you're tapping it with that mallet and chisel. It's very easy to go too far, and those are not very high quality chisels. Those are Lowe's specials. I really do wish I had an Arbortech right now, though. It'd go fast. I'm going to spin this around. Whoops. Well, I can just lift it, spin it around, pull this back a little. There we go. I can get this side. Oh, that's slick. That is slick. Repositionable almost instantly. This is a useful tool. I'm telling you what, this is an incredibly useful tool. Yeah, it's gonna. So this will make a great shaving mug, because the soap is going to seal it, and the soap's going to act as a stopper down there. Snafu, Joe says hi from TikTok. So for a shaving mug, this will be perfect. Now I have a Cherry 3-axis or 4-axis shaving mug that I turned that I'm using currently, but I will most likely update it to this just because. Okay, we're getting somewhere now, folks. Let me get this angled back here. Sorry, I gotta keep working on this. Getting used to this. That's a little bit better. See, I'm moving it around. I'm moving it in and out, and I got to pay attention to the camera. I got to pay attention to the camera. I've got 2 monitors over there, which is really cool. Another find from the TikTok shop, the Arzopa 15-inch monitor is really useful. Holy cow, is it useful. I used it as a monitor to monitor my phone while I was shooting the video yesterday. Pretty effective. It's easier to move the phone around and aim the shot looking at a monitor rather than going behind the camera and guessing where you're going to be standing. So we're slowly building the equipment we need. Unfortunately, my third angle, where you guys are sitting, is my third camera angle for the Tube of View videos. That camera, the power supply, has given up the ghost. It no longer wants to function, and that's a shame. But they were not incredibly expensive cameras, so it is not the end of the world. And if things go well, I should be getting a much improved quality camera for shooting longer form videos, and that will just take the place of the camera with the bad power supply, as well as taking the place of my phone for shooting long form video. Although, as far as image quality is concerned, you can't do much better than the Samsung camera. The cameras on the Samsung phones are phenomenal. So we're almost to my time limit in regards to my physical limitations. I apologize for that. I do have a very bad back and feet so flat that they're almost convex. And this is starting to be painful, which is why I don't do this full time, because I do have physical limitations. I am disabled. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the lives. I want to say thank you very much to everybody who's joined. I will be continuing on this. This is going to get finished. So we'll probably try and do a part 2 tomorrow where we hollow it. We finish carving it and hollow it. And I might take a break and do some more hand carving later tonight. But I really doubt it. My back is killing me and my feet. My dogs are barking. So thank you very much for joining me. Go ahead and readjust camera angles here. This is the... I haven't gone live on TikTok or on what is that, YouTube very often. I almost never go live on Facebook, but I have the capability, so I decided to go ahead and test it out. I want to again thank Bestwood Tools very much for the articulating tool rest. This is a game changer for me. Bestwoodtools.com. Tell them JJ sent you. There's no discount code or anything. I'm just very grateful to them for their support of me and my work. And you will be seeing a demonstration video of this very soon on all of my social medias. And there's Mr. McCoy of McCoy Mills, who put in a good word for me with Bestwood. I appreciate you for that, because that helped engender our sponsorship. Thank you very much, Tim. I really do appreciate it. This is the articulating tool rest, and this sucker is absolutely a game changer. Absolutely a game changer. So thank you very much for joining me on all of the platforms. I really appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up and go hydrate, because I have not had a drink of water for 2 solid hours, and I've been turning some very dry red oak. But we will come back tomorrow, probably around 1 p.m. Eastern on all the platforms again, and we'll try to get this sucker finished. So thank you very much for joining me.